Welcome to episode 31 of Liquid Velvet Literature. Where did you come from, Angel? How did you know I'd be the one? Welcome to episode 31 of Liquid Velvet Literature here on Prose Radio. We began today with a quote by Hot Chocolate. I woke up this morning with the bass line in my mind. Dun, 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 dun. What a beautiful way to wake up, too. My dogs and the sunlight coming in and that dun, 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 dun. And I went ahead and made that my morning song with my coffee. And now here I am, introing them in the video. And so we have a really cool show today. The request sheet came in, and I'm really happy about all four of these pieces, but 2 long form and 2 really beautiful poems. So without further ado, let's jump into it. You sexy things. Okay, so the first piece is by Shallowgenepool, and that's really needs no more of an introduction except for it's a challenge. Let's see what challenge this is. Let's see, let's go to here and open that in a new window so I don't lose my spot. The best way to live in a broken world. Oh, it's by Putski. Oh shit. I love Putski. In fact, I'm going to read Putski today, but this deserves a whole video itself. This is a deep dive right here. The best way to live in a broken world. We are all overwhelmed, even those that win the vagina lottery. Tell me what you do to cope, to get away from scroll addiction, drug addiction, etc. A walk in the park, batting cage. Tell me a story about how you cope with a bad day, week, life. That's a cool challenge. Huh. All right, Putski. All right. I'm going to look into this today. I read some of these and liked them, actually, without knowing it was a challenge, especially by Putski. So, as we all know, Putski's up there in my top 40 shouty. Fuck, that was dumb. Anyway, that was a long time ago. Let's move on. This is Shallowgenepool in that challenge with the Cheshire cat with a side of pork and beans. I've always felt that the world is more mad than broken, although I suppose there is probably a fair amount of brokenness required to achieve madness, so it may just be that one cannot exist without the other. That is a matter way beyond my slightly irregular, shouldn't have made it past quality control intellect to comprehend. As a result of having an IQ that is PU, I tend to lean on the simplest definition of madness or insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over again while expecting to achieve a different result. Of course, depending on the circumstances, this futility can definitely invite insanity's bedfellow, brokenness, to the party. Though simplistic, I think this simple definition of insanity pretty much describes humanity from day one. Wars rarely solve anything, but we still fight them. Kindness is always more fruitful than cruelty, but there's still plenty of cruelty in humanity. Political systems continue to fail or outright abuse those they're supposed to protect, yet we still use the same systems, contenting ourselves with minor cosmetic modifications. It's like choosing a purple shaft today over the same tried and true green shaft our leaders have been shoving up our collective asses for centuries. Sure, it's different, but it doesn't change the fact that we're still getting a shaft. So the difference is pretty irrelevant. In short, I think that the great sage of insanity, the Cheshire cat, put it best when he said, "We're all mad here." I guess the real question is, Can a mad person navigate a mad world without being swallowed by the world's mass, twisted, often dangerous, cruel, and narcissistic madness? Consequently, are we doomed to share society's collective delusion of grandeur that allows each of us to somehow assume that we're modern-day Napoleon Bonaparte, while simultaneously believing that we're also genius artists who work solely in the medium of feces, using the walls of our padded cells as our canvas? Can we have our own madness that is unique to us, and a sanity that separates the individual from the rest of the rabid lunatics in the world at large? I'd like to think so. Personally, I try to mold my delusions into something benign, or if not benign, then only harmful to myself. For example, I write. My writing is unrefined, often without purpose, and is more manic than a tweaker with a set of tools and a broken lawnmower. Plus, there's a good chance that the Oscar Mayer hot dog jingle will show up at random times somewhere within the pork and beans of my prose, but it's my writing, and it harmlessly gives my delusions a little playtime. However, for the more timid reader who possesses a little dignity and sense of decorum, reading anything I write provides a mild psychological shock, similar to what one experiences when pissing on a live electric fence. The lesson is learned immediately after the electricity climbs the conductive arc of urine and lights up the individual's mommy or daddy parts. So after a good zap of my writing and a couple of melted fillings, odds are the timid reader won't be doing that again. With this newfound wisdom, born of a very negative experience, the timid reader knows better, and the next time they'll take a pass on reading a post by Shallowgenepool. Professionally, I have sculpted the dry humping a fire hydrant level of craziness that is a regular part of my job into a bit of a cathartic delusion. For example, when the office is intolerably quiet, the voices in my head become bored, which leads to psychotic naughtiness. This isn't a good thing because engaging in my brand of psychotic naughtiness will likely lead to unemployment and a criminal court date. Seeking to alleviate this very dangerous boredom, it's not unusual for my coworkers in the neighboring cubicles to hear me suddenly break out in, "You make me feel. Yes, you make me feel. You make me feel like a natural woman," in my singing voice that can best be described as a tone-deaf, pubescent, prone to cracking, and dolphin with hemorrhoids-like falsetto. I don't care that I'm an almost 50-year-old man. It's my delusion, and Aretha Franklin was a goddess. I really don't care what my coworkers think. They can either move to a different floor, or they can sing backup. I'm good with both choices. Singing spontaneous Motown melodies at the top of my nails-on-a-chalkboard voice allows me to get through the fucking day without trying to silence the voices in my head by cracking my own skull wide open with a 3-hole punch. At home, my lunacy is diffused by reading. My reading is as manic as my writing. One week I'll read Steinbeck, Twain, Orwell, or Shakespeare. Next week I'll read a totally predictable zombie, werewolf, or vampire novel. And no, the Twilight series doesn't qualify. Even at my worst, I have better standards than that. There's no reason to my choice. It's as spontaneous as a 15-year-old boy coming within 2 seconds of being invited to touch a girl. There, for the first time. One week I may choose to read a work of great beauty and wisdom, and the next week I'll be reading the literary equivalent of leftover Taco Bell that's been in the fridge for 3 months. Of course, my manically driven choice of reading material was a bit embarrassing at times, but in the end, it hurts no one. Music hath charms that soothe the savage beast. It's true, or in my case, I try to rock the voices in my head to sleep, or when that doesn't work, to drown them out entirely. For example, on my commute home from work, I will snarl along with Dave Mustaine and Tornado of Souls, celebrate debauchery with the Rolling Stones belting out She's So Cold, or shriek to Valhalla with Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song. Some people shoot heroin, some people drink, some people pray. Some dress up like a 19th century German schoolboy, and get spanked by a 300-pound woman dressed like a Swedish milkmaid. Me, I worship at the feet of the rock gods and goddesses. The end result is that I make it home without entering a psychotic rage, resulting in me taking a tire iron to the driver of the motherfucking Tesla that is apparently saving battery charge by not using his fucking blinker. Well, there is no escaping madness. We really are all mad here. The difference is we can... My baloney has a first name, it's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name, it's M-A-Y-E-R. And join the often harmful insanity of society, or we can shape our own madness like sculpting mashed potatoes into a scale model of Mount Rushmore. Being crazy may be inescapable, but being a crazy dick, that's a choice. Ha! I bet you were thinking I'd add the Oscar Mayer hot dog jingle in there somewhere. It's really good. ShredMuffins says, the line about the Tesla driver had me in tears. Ha ha ha, too relatable. Putski said, this was a fun, crooked mile. Thanks for playing. That's a good way to describe this. Large says, I agree, can we have our own madness that is unique to us, and a sanity that separates the individual from the rest of the rabid lunatics in the world? Most deaf. Yeah, I agree too. What a cool piece. Thank you, Shallowgenepool. That was fun. Who is ShredMuffins, by the way? I've been seeing ShredMuffins quite a bit. Oh, that's a beautiful photo. My lover is the mountains, my favorite kisses are from snowflakes, and the thunder helps me feel my deepest emotions. Writer and photographer. Well. Fuck yeah. Okay, what a great photo, too. That's a beautiful photo. What a beautiful setting, too. And this is ShredMuffins in a challenge that says, personify the 4 seasons. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Togetherness for the whole. Sunny finally stops. Okay, we'll rest here for the night. Immediately followed by 3 heavy sighs of relief. April, find water. Amber, start a fire. Ira, find us some dinner. As Amber and April were about to shuffle off, Ira, visibly weak, drops to the earth, close to death as you can get from exhaustion. I can't move another step. We've been walking all day. Ira, we're all in this together. We each need to do our part. The longer you sit, the harder it will be to get back up. We will be okay. Sunny's deep blue eyes gaze just as deeply into her soul. While fiercely intimidating, they would instill confidence in even the most unmotivated individual. But Ira is more stubborn than most. What's the point? Nothing survives in the end anyway, she mutters, unsurprisingly woeful. Why do you always have to be the pessimist, Ira? You know Sunny hates it. April retaliates, defending her older sister. She's right, you know, Amber says as she picks up a piece of wood off the ground. And for the record, I'm not being pessimistic. What do you call it then? Sure doesn't sound optimistic. It's called being realistic, she calmly replies, pulling out her pocket knife. April must have never heard this word before, because she fails to respond and then looks towards Sunny for help. Sunny rolls her eyes. Okay, Miss Realist, how do you realistically propose we save Mom? Amber had already started whittling the piece of wood she found. She remains silent for a few moments, then slowly looks up at Sunny and dodges the question. I thought you were the leader. What's your plan? Unaffected, Sunny beams with confidence. By working together, which reminds me, can you please start the fire? With a glare from her sage green eyes, Amber turns around and disappears into the dark, mumbling to herself. Yeah, that's not even a very specific plan. Amber knows she is more the type of person to take someone else's ideas and improve on them, rather than make a new plan from scratch. She saves that kind of creativity for her artwork. Sunny reminds April to find water, and after some direction, she heads toward the sound of a creek. April really looks up to her older sisters. She wishes to be just like Sunny, and she looks up to Amber, if only to know how to be the opposite. Blue eyes, but a lighter shade than Sunny's, curious, growing strong, and with plenty of life still to see. Then there's Ira. Eyes so dark brown they look black if not exposed to direct sunlight. She is the oldest and arguably the wisest. She's experienced so much loss that her outlook on life has become extremely cold and bitter. One would think the influence of Sunny's bright soul would help, and maybe it does, but she doesn't show it. She finally found the energy to look for food. About 20 feet into the darkness, to her delight, stumbled upon a ripe raspberry bush, making her task quick and easy. They can all finally relax around the warmth of the fire. With bellies somewhat full from the fruit, they stare blankly into the dancing orange flames. No energy to bicker anymore. The minute differences and pitches of the crackling wood acts as music to combat the silence. Ira sits alone further away from the flames than the rest. Amber sits cross-legged, hard at work whittling a safe distance from the others. April and Sunny sit together, with April's head at rest on Sunny's shoulder. They know what comes tomorrow, but for now, enjoy this moment together. Sunny begins to hum a tune in hopes of increasing the overall morale. She hopes to create a sense of peace before the looming storm on the horizon. That is beautiful. Author note: this is in relation to spring, summer, fall, and winter in the northern hemisphere. As I understand it would be the opposite for the southern half. I may pursue this to be a proper short story or even book. Thanks for reading. You should, ShredMuffins, and you should shred muffins. And Mariah said, I love that you use Ira for winter. Perfect. She's right, and I noted that upon first squint into the story. Reading it, I wanted to say Ira to give it more of a feminine tone to the character of Winter, obviously, but I like Ira. I tried to differentiate EIRA from IRA, but hope I did okay for you there, ShredMuffins. I went back and forth for a while on a few different names, but glad I stuck with Ira. Yeah, me too. Huckleberry Who says it's really good. Thank you. I should have had Ira find a huckleberry bush instead. Okay, from these two writers commenting on this piece, that's a really big tell on this talent. Yeah, I'm excited about ShredMuffins. I will deep dive into ShredMuffins. I love that name too. How can you not? I love both those things combined as one. Okay. Next one is the creator of the first piece's challenge, and this is Putski, and yeah. Anyway, it's called I Found These Things. Words would usually rattle in my mind, or at least get stopped in a dry mouth, never to be spit upon a page, but here in this world, I've learned to speak, and strangers listen to the babblings of a madman. Yes, they do, and they listen insofar as the babblings are good, and they're good. No, they're great. And this will close us out today with Flash Gordon, and it's a challenge. It's the 4 seasons again. And let's see. Oh, I like it already. Warm lemonade air, cool barefoot grass, face up catching rays. Chill comes in colors, yellow, orange, brown, wool rubs cheeks rosy. Barren dread blankets, black, white, gray sky, death has dominion. The greening surprises, the promise fulfilled, life returns, flourishes. Beautiful. Flash Gordon again. Great piece. Great poem. Okay. And that's going to wrap today. Thank you for being here, and thank you again to the 4 talents featured on the show today. And really kind of started my week off smoothly, a nice, even kilt, which for me is rare. So thank you to the four who graced the site with their words. Speaking of that, I'm going to say it again. If you'd like to read or write, or both, go to theprose.com. Read, write, or both, but inspire. Be inspired. The way things are going now, the world needs your work. It's necessary. Give them something real. That's what we're lacking today. So, I'm going to get out of here. Shit to do, unfortunately, but I want to say again, thank you. And as always, I'll see you in the new video, and take good care.